Is this your best chance to make it to a top tier American university with even a below par profile? There are speculations floating around that due to the prevalent geopolitical situations and the unnecessary media hype that we are seeing, that there are far fewer applications to American universities and even the top ones, which means that there is going to be lesser competition for you to make it to the top tier programs. How much truth is there to it? Well, I'm not going to speculate. I'm going to give you some hard insights and numbers from admissions committees to tell you where you stand this year. Let's start with a surprising statistic. I've been talking to admissions committees of some very, very good universities and some top tier programs. Now, obviously, they like to track the number of people who are applying. And yes, it is a time of the year where not too many people have applied already. It's still very early and deadlines are far away. But they also track a very important metric, that is the number of people creating accounts and opening applications, which should be very high in the months of October and November. I am hearing from these admissions committees that the number of people creating accounts and opening applications is down by 50%. And this is for some top tier programs which are going to fill their classes in any case. Of course, does this mean that there's going to be 50% fewer people applying eventually? Probably not. That number is probably going to increase in terms of number of applicants, but there's no doubt that these top universities are not going to have as many applications as they do in previous years. Additionally, these are programs that have reported near 100% placement rates in the last 4-5 years consistently, including in the tougher job market over the past year. Therefore, they're still very, very strong. Make no mistake about it, they will fill their class. There's never going to be a situation that they're going to take anybody and everybody in order to fill up their classes. However, if the overall competition from a whole large pool of applicants is not as high, maybe you could sneak through if you're there and thereabouts in terms of the profile. That means if typically GPAs of only an 8.4, 8.5 plus have gotten in normal years, you could get into some of these top programs even if you have an 8, 8.1. If you're way off in the early sevens, then you're not going to magically get in because good programs will maintain a certain standard. But this could most certainly be the best possible year for you to make it to a top tier university because the volume of applications is lower if you're around that borderline profile. The other insight that I'm getting from a lot of these programs is that while their top notch programs are largely going to be full and the number of students are going to be largely the same, the repercussions on mid tier programs and lower tier programs in terms of the number of students coming in is going to be significant. There are simply not going to be as many master students flooding the US market for the fall of 2026. Now, with steady job market predictions for the next 2 or 3 years in the US and fewer graduates from lower tier universities trying to get into the job market and perhaps potentially even the eventual H1B lottery, graduates from top tier universities will most certainly benefit because it's the same job market pool but with a lot less competition. Therefore, you have a slightly better chance of getting into a top tier school. You might have a significantly better chance of securing a job 2.5 or 3 years later when you eventually graduate. So this could be food for thought for those of you who are considering and are on the borderline between applying to some of these top universities. This could be your best chance to have that ultimate university and degree tag on your resume that can make the difference for a lifetime. If you watched this video until this point, I'm sure you liked it. Why don't you subscribe?